and then you should collaborate. I would always say people should collaborate. When you go to other people's sets, you see things that you've not seen before. You learn on the job. You understand? And another thing is, the first thing that you must know as a filmmaker is you're an artist. It's like you're painting. You understand? Sometimes as a painter, that your painting might not really be the best, but at least you used your brush, you painted something. So take that painting, frame it, put it somewhere, and work on another better artwork. So most times people get discouraged when maybe probably you try a movie, you try to make a film and then it didn't turn out well, and then you feel bad. Most of the great filmmakers in the world have made worse films than what you see.
Yeah.
So don't shoot yourself on the feet by making a bad movie. We've all done that. Because I'm a Nigerian, and you know, in Nigeria is like in every family there's someone who makes movies. You get it?
I didn't know that.
It's that big. That's why Nollywood is very big. So people used to come to my mom, they borrow money to shoot, and then after they sell it, they have like local marketers they sell the movies to, then they return the money. That was how I fell in love with the art. But then, you know, your parents wouldn't want you to go into, like, it's not a career to them back then.
Be a doctor.
Yeah, be a doctor.
A lawyer.
So I was busy studying in school, but you know, something in me told me that this is what I wanted. The first time I tried to like speak to my parents about it, I noticed they were not happy about it, because you know, she had the experiences with the money issue and all. You know, when people borrow money and getting it back is a problem. So it made her not to like trust filmmakers, sort of. You understand? But then after school, I told myself I got to do this. So I went for a short course, and that was how it started.
Okay, cool. And you've been making movies and music videos ever since?
It didn't just happen overnight.
Of course,
you know,
of course.
But then it's been a beautiful journey, because you know, you being able to tell stories, because as filmmakers I see us as teachers. We teach the society, you understand? So being able to do that, it's quite fulfilling. You can tell stories that inspire people, you see? So that's like the most fulfilling part of it. You get? So starting up, it's not easy, because let's say in Africa or back where I come from, you don't get money easily, or you get support from people. You have to like do everything yourself. So I started as an intern in one of the music channel in Nigeria. I was there, then later I was one of their camera operators. So I think that's where I actually got the experience, because going to a film school is not enough if you're not hands-on. You can go to the best film school, but if you've never shot a movie, you won't know how it's for.
I always say that you can read as much theory as possible, but like until you've made a movie, you haven't, until you've climbed. I always say like making a movie is like climbing a mountain.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's all these different things. Actors drop out, your DP drops out, your editor,
weather.
Yo. So like anything, you face like the toughest challenges ever. But what's nice about it is that as a filmmaker, you are a creative. You do admin. You know, if you're an independent filmmaker, because most of the time
you have to do it all.
Yeah, you know, and you're not just a creative as like, you know, the writer, director, but you also do the admin. You also have to be organized. So it's a lot of skills in like one
person.
Yeah,
you have to edit, do sound, things that
technical also.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and obviously this is one of the reasons why I fell in love with filmmaking. And obviously I love movies. One thing I always ask people, especially on the show, is what are your top 5 movies? Because I feel like movies are like when I ask people their top 5, it's like I'm trying to gauge where you are at.
Okay.
If you have good taste.
Well, Godfather will always be like all-time classic, and I would say I would want to mention local movies because I've seen enough of the American movies and all. They're nice. I'm not downgrading them or anything, but I think it's time we promote our own. When it comes to my top 5 movies, I would say Godfather #1 for me. The Figurine by Kunle Afolayan, a Nigerian filmmaker.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that movie.
and he did another one, October 1. Yeah, that's another very good movie. When the all-time, Lion King, I think I can watch that movie 10 times or 50 times, as many times as possible. It never gets old. You understand? That's 3, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah, it's 3.
Okay.
So far.
I think Timeless is another movie that I love so much because of the way it's been, like, it was written and what they talking about. And then Beast of No Nation.
Oh yes.
That's
yes.
that's another movie that I love because I love strong stories. I like stories that can put me at the edge of the table.
It's a good top 5. It's a good top 5, especially the last one. I have an argument with my girlfriend. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to see ugly stuff." She only wants to watch like the beautiful, like glamorous stuff. I'm like, no, movies are not supposed to be all glam. Like we're supposed to tell even the ugly side of things.
Yeah, that's the reality.
You know, because it's real. You know, and that's what touches people when you see the realness of it.
Yeah, you know, like some filmmakers, because of the market, we all want to make money. They tend to shy away from a lot of stories. But look at this story that broke like every record in South Africa now. I don't know, the Neva story.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's a filmmaker coming from another angle where people don't want to go to, and now it's opened like a lot of other opportunities for the whoever produced that movie. You understand? So I think as filmmakers we should try to go into, yeah, we can do all this glamorous and luxury. It's beautiful, but then that's not the only thing that happens in the world. There are people who are suffering. There are people who are depressed. There are these young boys. What they have their own stories. There are so many stories to be told.
You know, I agree 100%. We can't keep making the same stuff because there's like the amount of people that I meet that have stories or like want to give me a script and they've written it on a piece of paper. It's like everyone we know has a story.
Definitely.
You know, and all these stories are unique, and it's our job to tell it.
For me, I always say something. I tell people that for writers have written everything in the book, anything that you can think of. But it's now how the story is being told, how you plot it, that makes your film special. There's no any aspect of this life that people have not done movies about. But now it's about how you plot it and how you package it for people. You see, like the story of boy meets girl, girls fall in love. It has been told over and over and over again. So it's time that we start looking at some other things that people don't want to talk about.
And also, one of my favorite topics, sorry about that, is how do you navigate as a filmmaker? Because it's tough. And I'm not talking about the surface philosophy stuff. Like, I know it's like for me, for instance, I make movies with my friends and I host a meetup, but I shoot movies like, you know, but I've got a 9 to 5, you know, so because that's like my safety net, you know. It's still in TV, but if you're not in, like, how do you, what would you say to someone who wants to live the wants to be a filmmaker or an independent filmmaker? I mean, nobody wants to be an independent filmmaker forever anyway. But what do you think people should do? Because it's really tough. Like, I guess maybe a basic question is like, if you can't find a job in TV but you want to be a filmmaker, what are the tricks and hacks that you think?
Okay, you see, first of all, it's not a bad thing to be an independent filmmaker. It's not a bad thing. It's all about having your plans and being able to execute it. You see, in Nigeria, where I come from, I think we are more of indie people. Like most of our movies are independently produced. You understand? But now you see in South Africa, there's more focus in television. People produce more for television. I think if you in a year you can count how many movies are going to the cinema or how many movies are being released in this country. You understand? So it's not a bad thing to be an independent filmmaker, but it's all about understanding the business of filming. If you're an independent filmmaker, that means you have to know how to multitask. Okay, say you want to produce, you don't have money to pay your camera guys, then that means you have to learn how to operate the camera. You want to direct, you can't pay a director, you have to learn how to direct. Now you're operating the camera, you're directing, multitasking. Now you have to do sound. You have to be able to create means for how to get good sound. You have to learn how to edit. You see? And most of all, because now doing all these things together, it's really, really hard.
It is.
You must, yes. You must know how to collaborate with people and team up with people. Most filmmakers, we make the mistake of always wanting to judge other people's work. But it's not about judging people. You can choose to tell your story any way you want it. You can use your phone to tell a story. It doesn't matter, even if you cannot afford the ARRI cameras, the red cameras, just tell a story.
I always try to enforce that message. But I think people think when you shoot on your phone, you're not professional. I mean, I've preached the whole cell phone, smartphone filmmaking thing. Because everyone has even the sad thing is people have really good phones now. Not just
you see, the traditional way that movies were made in the past, I think things are not like that anymore. We're in an age where everything happens so fast, and the internet is bigger than even your television, your radio. You understand? And there are a lot of people who are coming from that camera. I don't know how to put it. Maybe camerography or I say camerography, phonography, or some people say iPhone graphy. I don't want to say iPhone, but people use their phones to tell their stories, and now they are winning awards. People know them. They are getting popular. They are making money. They are getting endorsements. So it's not about the mistake that most of us make is we believe so much in gears rather than the creativity behind what we are doing. You understand? It doesn't matter if you are using an ARRI or I'm using an iPhone. It depends on how we tell the story. With that, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. And then how do you maybe a more practical approach? I just finished high school and I want to be a filmmaker. What do I do? Okay,
I would say the first thing is you have to learn the basic. It's not good to just be a mediocre. You can start by not knowing anything, but always seek to learn. Because what you know will not deceive you. I think what makes it harder for most filmmakers is they don't even know the basics. And that's makes it hard for them, because something that you're supposed to just use 2 lights or 3 lights, because you don't know how the techniques behind it. Now you're thinking of 10 lights, 15 lights, and then you can't afford it. Makes things really, really hard for you. So the most important thing is first learning the basic. I think the YouTube is a very good avenue for that, to learn. And then you should collaborate. I would always say people should collaborate. When you go to other people's sets, you see things that you've not seen before. You learn on the job. You understand? And another thing is, the first thing that you must know as a filmmaker is you're an artist. It's like you're painting. You understand? Sometimes as a painter, that your painting might not really be the best, but at least you used your brush, you painted something. So take that painting, frame it, put it somewhere, and work on another better artwork. So most times people get discouraged when maybe probably you try a movie, you try to make a film and then it didn't turn out well, and then you feel bad. most of the great filmmakers in the world have made worse films than what you see.
Yeah.
So don't shoot yourself on the feet by making a bad movie. We've all done that. You understand? You just learn from it and move on. So my advice would be learn the basics, collaborate with people. We always like to sit back home, watch other people's work and just judge them and say, nah, this is not how they're supposed to do it. But when you are in the business where you're the one shooting the movie or directing it, then you know.
I even had a thing where I told myself, like, I make YouTube videos and I told myself I will never review movies because I know how much it takes to make a movie. I will never like blog and say, this movie is shitty. You know, like, I don't know, maybe there's a place in the world for critics, but like I feel like to just tear down something someone has worked on for 2 years, sometimes it's like...
Yeah, but for me, I think every movie has got its high or its low. We've seen Star Trek, we've seen mistakes in Star Trek, we've seen so many things. So every movie has its highs, its low moments, the not so good, the perfect. You understand? But at the end of the day, it's all about telling stories and doing something. Because for me, I would say, no matter how many ideas you have or how good you think you are, or your ideas are, if you have not been able to execute it, they are just things that you're thinking.
Nothing, yeah.
You understand? So it's good when you can like do something and then you see your mistakes and you can always try again. Rather than saying, I'm a filmmaker, but you've never made any movie. So how does that make you a filmmaker? What have you made? You just have imaginations in your head. Until you put them into practice, then you become a filmmaker.
Yeah. And then what would you say are the obstacles you've faced as on the come up as a filmmaker, and how did you overcome them?
There's a lot. You know, we have to survive. There's bills to be paid. So the first obstacle is finances, money. Like you might have, like me talking about you having ideas and putting them into practice. It still takes money to do all these things because filming doesn't come really cheap. Yes, you can collaborate with people. The more people you know, the more your net worth, you see. So you can always have friends that you can say, okay, give me your camera, bring your sound equipment, and let me make something. Yes, it's good to go down that line. But I think the biggest obstacle is finances, how to like finance the movie. And secondly, there's no much avenues to market. So sometimes you're scared when you want to produce it, thinking, how am I going to market it? You don't want it to end up on your phone or... You understand? But I don't know if it's right to say this. Mnet is really encouraging independent filmmakers by buying their short films, which is a good thing, and I think we need more of things like that. Because if say you produce a movie, you sell to Mnet, and Mnet could buy it from you, that means Mnet has invested in you to actually buy your gears. Most people make the mistake of getting money from Mnet and then just going back and trying. But for me, I'll say when you get that money, buy yourself a good camera, buy yourself some real cool lights.
Don't go to the club.
Don't go to the club and get drunk and then you're going back and you see. For me, I tell my friends that I've produced for Mnet, I say, even when you do your first movie and it's not so good, and luckily, because I'll say luckily because sometimes you don't know why Mnet would reject movies or why they take it, but luckily they take your movie. So you should be grateful and invest that money in yourself. Don't just go about like drinking and then you want to take another shitty movie to them again. I don't think it's fair.
So invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Okay.
So.
And one thing I've noticed is is like social media I think it's something also that we can't ignore as filmmakers. I mean, you were talking about marketing. Do you think it's a good avenue to put your stuff out there, or put yourself out there, like a good tool? Because I mean, as much as you're making movies,
as an independent filmmaker, you're doing a lot of freelancing, and the best way to market yourself is through the internet. So many people can see your movie on the TV and they don't even check your name. At the end of the day, they're just seeing the actors. Some people will not even say, "Oh, I like the way this scene was lit. Let me check the name of the guy who did the lighting for them." People don't do that. I don't. We filmmakers do it, but not people who are watching at home. But then, as a freelancer or an independent filmmaker, the best way you can get known is still the internet. When you put your things out there and people see, and word of mouth, and that way you get connected, you get more collaborations. Even the way I met you, I think I met you online.
Instagram, yeah. I think it's. I don't remember.
I met you. I saw you on Facebook,
oh,
and
okay.
then I liked what you were doing, and then I checked you out. That was how I met you. So I think the internet just opens up the field for you to like fly. So, but the only thing is you should know how to use it in a positive way. I have not mastered that, but there are people who have mastered it, and it's working for them. You understand? So I don't see the internet as a bad thing. I think it's the future of even filming, because nowadays you see there are companies like Netflix that are buying content from people. You understand? So I think there will be more companies like Netflix for us to sell more content and get our movies to be seen not just in South Africa but all over the world.
Okay. What do you think about? Do you think filmmaking is also more accessible for women? I feel like, I mean, a lot of people that I know are guys that are filmmakers and producers, and I never. I mean, I know there are female filmmakers, but I wish there were more.
I think for filming, it's not about gender. It's something that anybody can do. It's, for me, the first thing is your passion. Your passion has to be. Filming is very challenging, so that's why you see people coming into this industry for 1 year, 2 years, and then they're out of it. They're like, no, it's not my thing. So the first thing, either you're a man or a woman, a child or old, the first thing, if you're coming into film industry, you must be passionate about filming. So, because when the challenges come, if you're not passionate to even
you just with it out and just like give up. Okay. There's this producer that I like him very much. His name is Jason Blum, right?
Okay.
His company is called Blumhouse. They make horror movies. Okay. So what they do is they make movies for very cheap and they make a lot of money. You know, like they make a movie for 5 million and then they make 100 million, you know. I really like what they do because they make really good movies. They did like Paranormal Activity, Sinister, Saw, the Saw movies, Insidious, Get Out, all those creative good stuff. Yeah. And I like them because they make good quality stuff and they're also very business minded. I hate the idea of like, artist, you know, like the starving artist who must be struggling. I feel like it is possible for people, for filmmakers, to be business minded and actually make money. I mean, it's tough, obviously, but I really feel like we could get to a point where you know where we can actually make money. Like a bad example is like, let's say if you're making a movie in SA, let's say if you know that SA movies make, let's say they make 2 million at the box office. Like let's say that's the lowest that they make, right? Instead of making a movie for 3 million or 5 million, you make it for 50,000 or whatever that money is. Okay. And then you then obviously if you make that 2 million, which is a lower point, you would obviously make a lot of profit, right?
Okay. You see, filming in the 21st century, I think the most important aspect of the whole pre-production is the marketing. Like I said earlier, every story has been told. You understand? Now it depends on how you tell it. But now, it doesn't matter what story you're telling. You can tell a story 3 times, 4 times in different ways. But now it's how you get it for people to see, which is the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I would say what those guys are doing, it's really good. Because at the end of the day, if you can make a movie for say 200,000 and you can make up to a million, that's perfect. That's really cool. It's something that I would love to do. You don't have to break the bank to make a movie. Yeah, they say for you to make good movies, there has to be some basic things. Yes, you can bring all these big. Okay, I have someone that I really look up to who is such like my mentor. His name is Kunle Afolayo. This guy has managed to make, I think, close to like 7 to 9 movies to the cinema.
Ooh.
And he tries as much as possible to shoot these movies within 1 week, 2 weeks. And he did a movie that he shot on 5D Mark III. Phone Swap, you can check it out. Phone Swap was shot with 5D Mark III and it played in the cinema and he made him a lot of money. And according to him, I think he made that movie with 0 budget.
Oh, snap.
But then it got to the cinema, it made him a lot of money, and now he's busy making blockbuster movies that...
Oh, wow.
You understand? So we have to be business-minded in everything that we do, not just filming. So I think if a filmmaker can devise a way to produce less and make more money, why not?
Because I discovered this thing called gear acquisition syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
It's like as filmmakers, we always want to buy the biggest gear. I suffer from that also. Every time they release a new camera, I'm always like, yo, I need to buy one. Yo, I need to buy the A7S because it's like popular. Oh, I need to, And then I just realized, Gucci, I'm on this endless cycle of buying instead of actually like...
Yeah, I think we have all been there. Luckily for me, I've been able to work with, I think, every kind of camera, aside from the celluloid. But anything from RA to RED, I've been able to use them. And at the end of the day, you realize that it's not even about the camera. You can have the best camera in the world and make the worst film. So it's not about all these expensive gears that people are crazy about. And because you see a multinational, people make the mistake of going to other people's sets and then you see them using R. You don't even know the glass they have on it. You're not thinking of the lights. You're not thinking of the story they're trying to tell. Why do they need that? Sometimes if your budget doesn't give you the opportunity to use like a camera who doesn't accommodate low lights, why don't you just go for a camera that gives you that opportunity to shoot in low light, where you can just have just one bulb and